Hello and welcome. It is papercrafts and this is Stamp Around the UK. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator and this is a monthly Stamp Around the UK. So in the show notes you will find links to other Stampin' Up demonstrators that have joined in with this video hop along. This month's brief is to create a card with anything but flowers. So I have chosen this stamp set and I am going to show you how I have created this card. So I'm simply using stamps, ink, paper. So I hope you will enjoy watching this as we go along. So this is the stamp set Under the Moon and I have got the stamps on blocks already and I have some cards. So for this stamp set, it is called a distinctive stamp set. I'm not sure whether they label it as such anymore, but that's the sort of, so it gives you a depth of to the stamp that you don't normally get in stamps, and that's the way it is etched. So it's also photopolymer, so I like to use the Stampin' Up matte. So it is Stampin' Up matte, it's got the logo on and it is the Stampin' Up colours. So I have got a piece of basic white thin card for my stamping, and I have got a piece of basic white thick card for my card. So I have scored a piece of A4 at 14.8 and I have cut it down at 10.5, and I'm making a long skinny card, but it is a standard A6 card, so it goes in a standard envelope. So how did I do the colouring? Let's see if I can sort of keep everything in line. Perhaps put it over here. Yeah, there we go. Let's see if we can get that to be the correct way. So I have got several colours. So I have got basic grey. So let's move my coffee so I can line up my inks. Basic grey, I have got Daffodil Delight. Ooh, she says. And all of a sudden none of the. I've also got Pumpkin Pie. I have got Crushed Curry. I have got Azure Afternoon. And I have got Balmy Blue. I have also got the stamps on blocks, except for one, which I will swap out now. So I've got this one, and then I have got some daubers. So I find with these stamps that are distinctive, they need a little bit more care and consideration when you are using them. Basically, you want your ink pad not to be too juicy. So if your ink pad is a little bit juicy, use a credit card, an old plastic card or a spoon to move some of the ink away so you've got a less juicy bit of the pad. None of my ink pads are juicy, so we're all good to go. So first of all, I'm going to ink up my C in Balmy Blue. So there's it's inked up. I've got a dauber that I've used for blue ink. Daubers are good, they go on your finger. So I'm going to pick up some Azure Blue and I'm just going to dab over with Azure Blue in the middle part of the stamp. And I've got a grey dauber. I'm going to pick up some grey ink and I'm just going to lightly daub the edges. And this is where you need the foam pad to be, and we will ink that, stamp that down, give it nice firm pressure. So there we are, we've got a gradient of blue and grey C. So that's our C, and then I can swap out the C for our sentiment. So there we go. Now similarly for the sunset image that I've decided this is, we're going to use the blue dauber again, pick up the balmy blue, and I've sort of put it in that middle area. Pick up some azure blue and just dot that about. Dot this round this bit as well. And then we're just going to play with adding some of the yellows and oranges along this bottom bit where the sun, I've taken this as being the moon and the sun is gone down, so you'll see some of the, I'm just going to pick up one more colour. I'm going to put a bit of Flirty Flamingo in this time, just a little bit, pick up a bit more yellows and oranges, and then we want to pick up some of the grey just around the bottom and a bit more blue. So we're literally colouring the stamp. I know you can't really see, but we're literally colouring the stamps with the daubers, and then we will add that to there, and that gives us our sort of stormy, sunsetty evening sky. So we can close up our ink pads now, and then we can add. So in this example I added the dolphin stamps, which are very cute, but for this one I'm just going to add the sailing boat, and I'm going to do that in the basic grey, and the sailing boat will go here, so it just sits there. It's got its own little shadow underneath, so it really does look like it's in the water. So we'll bring our lovely trimmer into view. I'm just going to put a few more ink pads away, and we want to trim this down to fit our card. So I said the card depth was 10.5, so we want this to be less than 10.5. So we're going to go for 18. No, we're going to go for 9. There we go. And then I'm just going to trim off each side. So I'm not measuring as such. I'm just going by eye of what I feel is best for the card as such. I'm going to trim a little bit more off. And don't forget to use all these little scraps of white card, can be used for sentiments and filling bits. Obviously not, well, I'm sure somebody could do something with those, but we're not going to. Right, so because we've got our daubers out, and they will have some more, they will have still ink on them, I went round with the blue dauber and inked up the edges of the card, and this is the fun bit. There we go. So we've inked up the edge of the card. So we also wanted to add a sentiment. The sentiment set is an online exclusive. It's called Sweetly Scripted, And obviously you can use any sentiments that you like. Speedy recovery, save the date, happy birthday, a million thanks. There's a 6 sentiments there. So we'll get our blank card out. This is our happy birthday stamp, and in the azure blue I'm just going to stamp across there, just like so, and then I'm going to get some foam adhesive just to add to the back of the image. To give the card a little bit of dimension. So I'm just taking the backs off those, trying to get the bits in the bin, but that's not happening very easily, so let's put them to one side. There we go. And then we want to add our image to our card. There we go. And that is our anything but floral stamp set. I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I haven't taken up too much of your Sunday. This has been Kavona Crafts. If you could like and subscribe, I would be very grateful. As I say, in the show notes there are other demonstrators that you can go and peruse, and they will also be showcasing anything but florals. And I hope you have a lovely rest of your Sunday, and I hope you have a lovely festive season and safe and happy New Year celebrations. And thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again in 2025.